resurrected together because they're become one. Something to think about there. The evolution of thought in the Bible is one thing cannot overrule the other thing. It's what's the same, not what's different. God isn't different. God is the same person, the same individual. If we're to be like him, then the resurrection is because to be like him, not different from him. If he made us in his image, then it was to be like him. If we received his personality and we have the choice, if we have the choice to make our personality what we want to make it into, then if we choose to become like God, choose the resurrection, choose to be like him, and choose the group, then what's possible? That is correct thinking, not incorrect thinking. Incorrect thinking is that typed words make the law. Correct thinking brings out the truth of the matter. So God made it so that we can participate in our own resurrection, in our own redemption of the world. We meet him halfway. Then his grace is sufficient to us to do the rest. So in this world, there's a back and forth flow. It goes back and forth. Bad things happen that cause a need for redemption, for safety, for good things to happen. So when something really bad happens, like America, people are out in the wilderness. They're used to making their own choices. They are studying the Bible. They're very religious people. And then somebody comes in and goes, you have to do it this way. And they don't see it. They don't want it. They don't want to be told that this is what you got to do. That's the nature of people. So then, because they don't want to do it, they're forced to do it. So then it becomes a form of enslavement. That's tyranny. That's called tyranny. So then there's a form of tyranny that comes in that dictates what you can do and what you can't do. And that drives the people into a state of mind where they're not even going to get anything because they're forced to do certain things so then there's a big battle that goes on and somebody loses, which there's always somebody that loses. Usually it's the good side that loses. Not always, but and that brings in the state of the good side of it, the God side of it. So then, like America was created out of that, and as time goes on, there's more and more and more people that don't want to see that. So they push the old aside, thinking that their way is going to be better, and it will just it drives everybody into a state of the same persecutions and not the freedom that they need. And this is the same thing that happens over and over and over in time. It's what happened with Noah. There's a fraction of people that are left that don't want to fall away from God. And since those people were born, didn't want to listen, God comes in and goes, well, no longer you've chosen, and none of you people are ever going to be redeemed from the world. There's no love in you. So then their whole purpose in life and their whole family's purpose in life and the generations that come out after them, because they corrupted everything for their own purpose. And God is trying to save what's left. So he wipes everybody out. So you get that important purpose that it's generation based. The generation based is on the same principle of salvation. It's the whole family line. As many people that could come out of the family line from Adam to us. So there has to be something in the concepts that allow the salvation of the family lines. Then you get up to, the world repopulates, and you get up to Moses, and it's the same kind of thing. The family lines are in jeopardy. The people that want to do what God wants to do, at least, there lays the concept. So God removes the people, sends them off into a different direction, but they're kind of showing the old ways. They're not willing to. But he still sees that there's hope in the future of redemption. But so he allows the families to reproduce, but the older ones perish. But that's in hope that the family lines will be redeemed, even though they didn't do what they were supposed to do. But in the battles, in the cause for evil to see the good, the families are allowed to survive. And then the temple's built. See? And that's the importance of the genealogies, why Christ shows the genealogies as an example, okay? Not just because he's showing it as an example that all of his family line will get saved. And he brings in the new concept that they're trying to debunk in the temple. Because if everybody gets saved, then why did Christ go in the temple when he didn't have a reason to go in the temple? If Christ is the way, the light, and all that, and all you got to do is believe in him, then why was he in the temple? If the temple was evil, it's because God changed it. The use of the temple he changed, and that's what the Jews rejected, was they didn't want him there because of it. That's what they left out of the Bible intentionally. when they made it in their version to keep you from God, to keep your family from being saved. And you're missing the whole point about Elijah. See, these are Elijah's concepts. This is what Elijah knew. The concept of John the Baptist, because he got that same kind of concept. So this is a repeating scenario throughout the Bible, was the rise and the fall, and why it fell, why it rose back up through the generations. It's generation based. It's salvation based. Until we get up to this period of time, it happened with Elijah the prophet. It happened with every one of them. Isaiah was talking about the same thing. It's the rise and the fall. People, as they forget, they become evil, and God doesn't have any more use for them. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be saved, because they can be. But there's got to be members in the family that know it to save them. And what Christ ends up doing is going, okay, here's some new concepts that I'm going to teach, and they get stomped on and rejected and thrown out. And then they get lied about. And those are the concepts that you're following today. And you have to get past that. If you're going to save your whole family line down the road, you're going to have to see it. And this is the restoration part. Because Christ comes back in, he's the completion of the law. He's trying to reestablish everything. The same thing that God wants. So that people can be saved. It keeps getting stomped on so that people can't be saved. There's evil people out there that don't want to save, and their influences on society are such that people will follow those things because of money. They need a way to make a living. So those things are stomped out where they can't make a living, and they can't own the land, they can't do anything, they're forced out. And it causes grief and strife. And then there's every form of evil available to allow the devil to come in and really cause a lot of problems. So there's back and forth swing throughout time. You seeing it now? Are you really seeing it for what it is? So when God reestablishes the bringing back together of the tribes of Israel, just like that people are saying about salvation, one person here, one person there, and he's allowing the Gentiles to come back in. I'm not sure what the blinking is on here. I'm gonna see real quick. Okay. Well, I'm gonna call this a video, and I'll see you later.